3, 2, 1. Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we have our first look at the Cleveland Tier 7 American Light Cruiser. So, with that being said, let's look at our commander. Our commander is Norman Scott. We've got Isoroku Yamamoto and Nikolai Kuznetsov. We've got Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, Fixated, and Fully Packed as our consumable, or as our perks. Now if we go to the ship, you'll see that I am fully upgraded. We also have Aiming System Mod 1, Propulsion Mod, I'll go over that in a minute, Concealment System Mod, and we have the Main Battery Mod 3. Now if you look here, you can swap out your healing consumable for a fighter, or a catapult fighter, if you want. Personally, don't think it's an idea that you want to entertain, just, you know, throwing it out there. Now we've got the community contributor flag on there, and then the red, white, and blue camo. Stats, 36,900 hit points, 4% torpedo reduction, not good. So if you get hit in this thing with a torpedo, it's going to hurt a lot. Main battery. You got 12 guns, 152 millimeters each. They reload in 5.3 seconds with our current build. 180-degree turn time is 20.7, which is a little bit slow, but that's probably because of our equipment there. Maximum damage with the HE shells 2300 with a 16% chance of setting fires. AP shell damage is 3630, and it's got some secondaries. They reach out to 5.3, which isn't crazy, but it's not bad. But generally speaking, you're not going to be in secondary range of anything. Maneuverability, 33 knots. It's got a turning circle of 660 meters and a 7.2 second rudder shift time. Concealment. We have a 10.8 kilometer detectability by sea, 6.8 by air, and 6.1 kilometer detection while firing in smoke. Overview, surgical shells. A short shell fuse time results in lower chance of overpenetrations. Reloader, above average main battery reload time, and agile, above average ability to change direction. We'll go over this in a minute. A Cleveland-class cruiser, the ship had excellent AA capabilities and good armor protection for this type of ship. With all performance characteristics combined, she was one of the most powerful light cruisers of the World War II period. Entered service in 1942, and there were 28 of them built. This is the most numerous cruiser ever built for the Americans. And, as a testament to how tough she was, no matter what battle she was in, no matter how much damage she sustained, not a single Cleveland-class cruiser was ever sunk in battle. So, yeah, just a little tidbit out there for you guys. The most numerous cruiser ever built, engaged in multiple fights, including, what is the battle that I'm thinking of? The one that they had to hold off the Japanese Navy when they were island hopping. They were right next to the big port. There's literally, they took half the island, left the Japanese on the other half of the island, and then they were fighting the Navy of the Japanese that had a port like just a few miles away in the next island. Like it was ridiculous. And the Cleveland class cruisers, I believe there were 4 of them on site, absolutely rocked the Japanese and sent them home. So yeah, it was a good one. And it was a fight at night. It was glorious. There's a video about it. If I can remember the video, I'll try to get it in and linked below for you guys. Though I think I posted it already in the community section. But as you can see, it's a good looking ship. Even with this camo, while it's nice for a filler, it's not as good as the permanent camo that they have out. This kind of reminds me of like a gimmicky basketball, if you guys know what I'm talking about. The Stars and Stripes basketballs you can get. It's kind of what it reminds me of. But yeah, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Sea of Fortune, a brand new map that you guys may or may not have played yet. It's an interesting map. I like it so far. It provides a lot of ambush opportunities for folks. I've only gotten it in domination so far, so it leaves a little bit to be desired in that front, but I do like the map overall. Now, one of the things I said we were going to talk about is the rudder. The rudder shift is very, very good at 6 seconds, meaning you would think this thing would be agile. However, it's not. It's a very long ship, so it doesn't turn very good. It's very big, so it's very difficult to dodge rounds. And this thing cannot take hits. Unlike most of the American cruisers, you do not want to be trading hits with people. Which is not a good time. So, yeah, with that all being said, my first impression of this thing is you need to have somebody on your team that can take hits. If you are the sole focus of the enemy team, you are not long for this world in this ship. It's supposed to be a very tanky light cruiser. It's supposed to be difficult to Citadel. It's supposed to be overpinned more often than not. The Citadel is supposed to be submerged below the waterline, which is why it is so difficult to Citadel. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the case. In my experience, even at extreme close ranges, if you give the broadside of this ship to anybody, they are going to Citadel you. So you don't want to do that. And at any sort of range beyond 10 kilometers, you really don't want to take any rounds because each one of those have a chance of being plunging fire through your, Citadel. So you definitely don't want that to happen. But that's why you're going to have to utilize island hopping strategies. You're going to have to go from island to island, using cover and using a teammate as bait if you've got the opportunity. Which is why I'm teamed up with Soviet Death here, because I was struggling to get a good game. I've had some decent games, but this one really showcases the ship. It's not the highest damage game in the world. We're going to get better with this ship over time. It's going to take time. Now, we've got a Wichita coming over here right off the bat. First thing you're going to have to think about is Wichita has an amazing set of armor. And so we're using high explosive early. But you're going to see me multiple times in this fight switching back and forth between high explosive and armor piercing depending on who's giving me what kind of shot. And you'll see that we're just trying to spread out the love at the moment to make sure that we keep the enemy in check. And we want to try to set another fire on this Wichita before he gets behind this island because he just used his damage con. Now, for cruisers, it's not as devastating if you get caught, and there we get the fire. Can we get a second fire? Really hoping that we do. But the good news is, because of the firing angle on the ship, there we get the second fire, and he disappears. So we've got 2 fires burning on that Wichita that are going to burn for a minute. Now, the Americans have really good damage control, especially for their heavy cruisers, so you're not going to get an amazing amount of damage off of them, but it's still going to be noticeable when he comes back out from behind the island. You can see this second Wichita is thinking twice about what he's doing. Now, one thing I am going to be doing more of in this ship is using the armor piercing to test out the plunging fire capabilities at range. Because they do come in from a pretty decent angle, and I think that the armor piercing is going to be the more effective shell a lot of times. But it's something I got to test. This is solely an early, video that I'm going to go over, but I've been struggling with the HE. Yes, it can set fires, but it doesn't generally do a lot of damage. A lot of times the HE shatters. Now, because this Wichita is about to come out broadside on, he's not going to have a good day. I don't care who you are. You come out broadside on to one of these American light cruisers, you are going to get punched. They have very good armor piercing, and they just absolutely wreck you in no time. Because they reload so fast, you just don't get a chance to rethink your strategy. Even battleships have to be careful, because I can and will hit you over and over again. Every 6 seconds, this thing reloads. And that's devastating. You've got 12 guns every 6 seconds punching you in the mouth. So, yeah, you definitely don't want to stay broadside to this thing if you can help it. But as you can see, it is pretty good at setting fires. Even with the fact that a lot of rounds tend to shatter. But You can see second Wichita thinks he's coming out. Unfortunately, he decides to angle into the island over there. I'm sure he completely meant to do that. Probably saw Soviet out there in the Tirpitz and was like, you know what? I don't need to be over here. Which is hilarious, because when I see a Tirpitz or a Bismarck and I'm in a Baltimore or a Wichita, I just bow tank them because they can't overmatch your armor and you just go right at them. Tirpitz a little bit different because you got to watch out for the torpedoes, obviously. But you can see, knowing that my armor piercing would just bounce off of this guy at this range and at this angle, I'm just trying to set fires at this point. But you can see we're getting a lot of shatters off of him when we hit him. Unlike the Atlanta, unlike the Flint, these rounds that go to the moon, they don't go to the moon. Like these are nice rounds to get over most of the islands in the game, with the exception of the giant mountains. But they actually are pretty easy to control. Now, we see the Vanguard's about to die. We don't take that shot. Bismarck, on the other hand, does need to be touched. And you'll see just how good this high explosive can be when you're able to hit where you need to. But you can see we got 6 shatters in that first salvo. And then we got 3 shatters there. So the high explosive, while it is capable of setting fires, shouldn't be a guarantee like your choice. Now, this guy's broadside on in a Bismarck. And you see, I go ahead and switch to armor piercing because I'm getting such rotten luck with the actual penetration on the high explosive. We're getting a lot of shatters. We're not getting the fires that we want. So, yeah, we're going to go broadside onto this guy. We're angled slightly, but at 9.2 kilometers, we're just going to test our luck. And sure enough, the armor piercing just starts gashing this guy. He's just taking round after round. You can see we're not getting the most damage ever. That was a little high. We want to try to get it a little bit lower. There you go. We got it 4,000. But you can see the secondaries on the Bismarck actually doing a lot of work right now. They set multiple fires. But our ability to pump out this many rounds this quick is just chewing all the health away from this Bismarck in a hurry. And this is what I'm saying about the armor piercing capability of this thing. We are shattering quite a bit, but we're actually shattering less of these rounds than we would the high explosive. And Soviet managed to finish them off with the Tirpitz. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we only lost a quarter of our health, and some of that is healable, so that's a win in my book. We got 77,000 damage right now. We only got the 1 kill. I have gotten a Kraken in the Cleveland already because of its amazing fire rate. It is basically a printing, capable of printing Krakens. It's also very maneuverable around the map, so you can put yourself in positions over and over again to get good kills. But it's not gonna be the be-all end-all. If you get caught out in the open as the sole focus of anybody on the enemy team, you're going to have a bad day. You definitely do want to try to maintain some sort of I don't exist. Don't shoot at me, because like I said, it's just not one of those ships that takes hits. But if you can maintain your ability to be a ghost, you're going to enjoy the ship, because the fire rate is fantastic. I've gunned down Atlantis, right next to an Atlanta. We're just trading shots, and it was no contest. He was doing damage to me, but by the time that he was doing damage, he'd already lost all of his health. It was fun. But as you can see, 86,000 damage, 1 kill, 200 hits. Not bad, 1,800 base XP, but a good overall match to showcase both the potential of the high explosive and the armor piercing, the weaknesses of both, and the ships that you've got to make sure that if you want this ship, that you utilize it as a standoff ship. You do not want to trade like you would in the Helena. You can get away with it in the Helena. You can't get away with it in Cleveland. You will be Citadel. So, if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.